Well, just a short while ago, the US President Donald Trump, ended his address to a massive crowd at the Ahmedabad Cricket Stadium, where he described Prime Minister Narendra Modi as his special friend and added that he is a great leader. Right, so he hasn't really, Ambassador Singh, he hasn't really criticized Pakistan. He in fact said that we're happy with our relationship, that Pakistan's made progress, and we're of course working with India to fight radical Islamic terrorism as well. So he's keeping that balance, not exactly saying anything critical of Pakistan at this point as well.
No, you're right. Here he didn't criticize Pakistan as such. He referred to the need to deal with terrorism. And this is very different from the kind of messaging that was coming out from the US and President Trump in 2017 and early part of 2018. In the 2017 South Asia strategy, they were very, very critical of Pakistan. In 2018 January, he tweeted that Pakistan has been making a fool out of the US, taking away billions and billions of dollars and not giving any support on terrorism. But you can already see the shift happening when Imran Khan was welcomed in the White House in July last year. And then sitting next to Imran Khan in September, after having attended the Howdy Modi event with our Prime Minister in Houston, when President Trump was asked what about Pakistan's involvement with terrorism, and he said, I'm focused on Iran. Now, what has happened since then is that the process between the US and Taliban has advanced. US was putting pressure on Pakistan to bring Taliban to the table. US assesses at the moment that Pakistan has provided some cooperation there and want that continued cooperation as this process is going. So at the moment, they don't want to generate additional pressure on Pakistan publicly. But at the same time, through the FATF, where they have kept Pakistan on the grey list, pressure is being sustained in a way. So it's a complex messaging that is being done. And therefore, what he said here, that they are working with Pakistan to deal with terrorism, they have good relations with Pakistan, and that he would like India to work with countries in South Asia for reduction in tension. Now, this is something that we will have to assess, because this is not quite in keeping with the policy that the government has at the moment. And therefore, how to assess this, react to this, will something that will have to be looked at.
Anna Tangent, would you agree with that, given the fact that there is, the very real possibility, of course, of the pullout happening this very month from Afghanistan? The focus is on Afghanistan. Pakistan can't be made an issue at this point. So even given India's concerns on counterterrorism and on Pakistan, Donald Trump is going to be striking a real balance here when it comes to the subcontinent.
Well, I don't know that you necessarily look at Donald Trump in terms of long-term strategies. He's very situational, and at this point, he sees value, as the ambassador has pointed out, in keeping Pakistan close. But it also goes against India in the sense that he is keeping it as a card in his hand, and as we have seen, he's not afraid to mix economic, security, and political issues when it's to his advantage. So I would caution people to just put aside this idea that there's an overarching strategy. The situation in Afghanistan is complex. A sudden movement of U.S. troops out of there could be extremely destabilizing. It's not clear what is going to actually happen. This is not a ceasefire. This is kind of where each side is supposed to ratchet down the level of violence. But on the very day it's signed, you have Taliban's attacking a checkpoint and killing numerous people.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, that's a real concern, Ambassador Singh, that, Donald Trump is both situational and transactional. And that leaves India very little room to actually have a long-term strategy when it comes to President Trump.
No, I think there is a long-term strategy on the part of both India and the US, which is to build for a stronger India-US relationship. Now, as you have this long-term strategy, there will also need to be transactional strategies of the moment, and you can't ignore that. And so that's what we have to deal with. President Trump is perhaps far more transactional than many other US presidents. Normally, we thought that our trade surplus with the US was not worth noticing. It was only about $20–25 billion. Pales in comparison with China's $400 billion trade surplus. But President Trump focused on that India is among the 10 largest countries with which US has a trade deficit. So he's certainly going to be far more transactional. So in that sense, the optics of his visit kind of welcome he's received, and his being able to signal that back to his base, that I have international acclaim. I think there is a transaction going on. And India can be, I think, as transactional as anyone else.
Sure, it goes both ways, give and take. All right, so we're slipping in a short break with that, but we have lots to talk about as there was much said at this address at the Motera Stadium. We're coming back in just a bit with both our guests. Thanks for watching.